welcome back. It's Debbie from Just a Different Life. Today we're going to talk about nail hygiene. It might be something you think, well, it just comes natural and most people can do it. And for some people it does come natural, but for some people it's a challenge and it's something that has to really be worked at. And for some of my children, it really needs to be worked at. The first issue that we've experienced with nail hygiene is the sensory aspect. And this is whether they are doing their own nails or we are doing them. Right from a start, they would be sensitive to have their nails touched. We had one child, it was used as a form of punishment. She used to pick at things and the foster parents would cut her nails really short, thinking that if her fingers were uncomfortable, then she wouldn't pick. So that didn't stop the picking, it just caused some more trauma. And then as an adoptive parent, we had to work through that. Other children are really ticklish or they just don't want to be touched. So that's something that we start by working through.
So one of the things we had to do was some desensitization. So we got ourselves a nail brush. Laura, can you show us how you scrub your nails? I like that. But could you get some soap and we'll do it with a little bit of water now?
Okay.
So Laura puts a bit of soap on and she's going to go through and scrub all of her fingernails. Some of the children were nervous about having their fingernails touched or using the nail clipper on them, so this is one of the methods that we were using to help desensitize them.
I really like this.
You really like it. But some people don't like their fingers being touched, do they?
No.
So one of the benefits of having Laura do her fingers is, as she tends to pick at her skin and scratch and make little sores, this has actually given her some of that input that she's been seeking, and it's slowed down the amount of picking that she has done. We are constantly coming up with things to slow down the picking because you seem to hit on one thing and then all of a sudden that's not enough anymore and we have to find something else. But currently this is one of the things that she does like, and it's slowed down the picking. So Laura would do this for hours. The other kids that are wouldn't you? You like it, don't you? So the other kids that are a little bit more hesitant about it, we have our timer for when we're washing our hands, and we will just turn on the timer. And then it gives them a little countdown so that they can do it for a little bit so that we're getting some of that input, but not too much that it overwhelms them. Another thing that we've been doing for desensitizing fingers is rubbing some hand lotion into their fingers, especially around the nail beds. Can you put some hand cream on your hands?
This one?
Yes, please. You rub it in, especially by your fingers. So it depends on how sensitive your child is. If they're extremely sensitive, maybe start with you modeling your hand and rubbing some lotion in and then having them do some, and maybe you doing a little bit of theirs. And it might not be that you're able to do all 10 of their fingers. You might only be able to do one, and you're going to be working up. Do you like putting lotion on your hands?
Yeah.
Do you like getting your nails clipped?
Yeah.
But you haven't always liked it, have you?
No.
No, we've had to work on this.
Yeah.
Do you know how to clip your own nails yet?
No.
No, but we're working our way up, aren't we?
Yeah.
So Lorelai and Darren have shown you a couple of the ways that we work through that. Another way of helping to desensitize is that we have a selection of nail polish and we have a book on nail art, and we will do their nails for them. And just by having their nails done, and that part's the fun part, so they aren't really thinking about if it's bothering them and not bothering them or not. And then the second step on having your nails done is eventually you have to take that nail polish off. whether it is them picking at their nails and scratching the nail polish off, or having to use nail polish remover and a little cotton swab and scrubbing it off. Either way, they're getting that desensitization, which they might not necessarily realize that's what's happening. So depending on the circumstance and the child, the desensitization could be a very long process. The next part of the desensitization is the noise. If you ever think about when you're getting your fingernails clipped and that noise that it makes, that to some of the kids is a challenge and they don't like that sound. So then you have to work on desensitizing that. So the desensitization for the sound and learning how to operate the equipment came together. How do we learn how to work these clippers? Do you know how to work them?
No.
Have you been doing any work with them?
No.
So Darren's still working on the desensitizing his fingers, but we're going to be moving up to learning how to use the equipment. And instead of using them on his fingers to start, especially when he's learning how to use the equipment, we're going to use dry pasta. These are just dry penne noodles, and that's what we're going to use to clip because it gives kind of the same input when you're using the clippers as a fingernail.
Like that?
Good job. So this clipper, you don't have to hold with your hand, you just have to push down. It's stable onto the table. So Darren, I want you to put your pasta up to the clipper and clip little bits off. So we are using penne noodles. You could use any type of noodle, really. The penne ones I found, because they're rounded, it's similar to what your fingernail would be, and it kind of gives them the same idea of trying to carefully maneuver around a rounded edge.
So my turn?
Keep clipping.
So right here?
Mm-hmm. So as you can see, Darren is learning how to operate the nail clipper without having to be fearful of it on his fingernails. This particular one is easier for him because he doesn't have to manipulate something quite like this when you think you have to hold it and squeeze, which would be harder for him. This one is resting on the table. Ideally, he's going to work his way up to these and scissors, and that might just take a little bit longer, but we are building the steps one by one. Darren, who trims your fingernails now?
Me. You.
Do you do it?
No. You.
So I still have to do it, but you're going to learn how to do it one day?
Yep.
Once you've got the desensitization done, obviously you've had to work on trimming their nails all along. So you're trying to make it as comfortable as possible for them. But the goal here is that we're working towards steps for them to be independent on doing their nails. For us, we got a little box, and then we got some nail clippers, various different types, and nail scissors, and different nail files. And these things to keep their toes apart, and nail polish, and toothpicks to help them with the designs. We got a book just to bring in some fun. And by having it done up as a kit, this really sold it to them. And they're like, yes, I'm so excited, I want to use that kit. Little did they know that we had ulterior motives, and the goal was for them to learn how to do their own nails. Yeah. You've been working with the therapist and with Mom on doing your nails for a while now. Yeah. What was the scariest part when you started?
My big sister Tiana told me to teach my nails and other concept that other man.
So Tiana didn't know that you didn't know how to? Yeah. And she told you to go do it?
Yeah.
And then you came back and you had cut your finger?
Mm-hmm.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
So then you've been working on learning. What parts are hard about doing your fingers or your toes?
For my toes, it's hard to bend elbow.
So doing toes can be a bit more challenging, especially for the balance and the coordination. Having Dean's back supported against a wall has been a huge benefit to him because then he's not so wobbly. It's still challenging doing his toes, but that just gives him a little bit more support in his lower back against the wall. Dean,
Yeah.
are you happier when other people do your toes?
Yeah.
But we keep working on it, don't we?
Yeah.
So you have to do at least a couple before somebody will help. So what are some challenges getting your toenails done?
Ticklish all the time.
So your toes are ticklish. Your balance isn't very good. So you've got the wall to help you. And are your toenails stronger than your fingernails?
Yep.
So they're harder to clip, aren't they?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of challenges to fight with doing your
Yeah.
toes.
If you guys have any ideas, leave a comment below, please.
This is twofold. You get to learn how to do your nails and how to sweep. I'll have you doing all the chores.
Yep. There's that. Or such if I do other chores.
It would suck if you do all the chores.
Yeah.
Not for me. Maybe for you, but not for me. So we have a whole bunch of different things. We have nail files and nail clippers and nail scissors. What kind of thing do you like to use best when you're doing your nails?
Nail clippers.
Do you use the clipper that just sits on the ground, on the table and doesn't move? Or do you use the one you have to hold?
One I have to hold.
So obviously the dining room table isn't the most ideal location for learning how to do nails. But with all the kids' balance issues, sitting at the table being supported by the table and the chair is the best option for them, which means we're going to do a cleaning lesson after we do our nail care routine as well. Ideally, they would be doing all of this in the bathroom, but there just isn't the support for them that they need physically while they're in the bathroom.
Another thing you told me that was hard was when you have to do the other hand.
Yeah.
That's been something you've been
Yeah.
having to work on too,
Yeah.
isn't it?
My hand is really bad
Is
at
it-
everything.
It's really bad at everything?
Yeah.
Oh. Can you think of anything that made it easier learning this? What made it easier for you? to-
Someone teaching me.
Well, that's what we need for sure.
Yeah.
Was it helpful doing it in little steps? Like
Yeah.
you guys use sticks or pasta to trim first? So was it easier to learn how to use a clipper before you had to use it on your hand? Why don't you like having your nails done? Does it feel funny on your fingers?
Yeah, and also it hurts a little bit.
It hurts a little bit?
Yeah.
Even when you're not cutting your fingers? So it's still uncomfortable even though you've been working on this for a little while?
Yeah.
But you're doing a great job. I like how independent you're becoming.
Yeah.
So do you do this either with your therapist or with mom and dad every week?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to make it a weekly routine. So
Yeah.
Dean struggles with a lot of fine motor activities, and this is just another one that is still a struggle. One of the ways we practice the motion for the nail clippers is hanging things on the clothesline. Just the squeezing of the clothes peg is similar to squeezing the nail clippers, and it's building those same muscles in the hands. Do you enjoy hanging stuff on the clothesline? Yes?
Yes.
Sometimes Laura will get so carried away, she'll have one item with more clothes pegs than you can imagine. Have you ever had a blanket with like 100 clothes pegs on it?
Yeah.
Because you like doing that?
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. So what's the best part of learning how to do your nails?
Nail polish.
Are you guys going to make some really fun patterns today?
Yeah.
Who's the best at doing nail polish out of the
Both
two
of
of
us.
you? Both of you? What's that?
I might need help doing these flowers.
Oh, I think Mila wants to help you.
Mila can do her nails too.
No. Paint all your nails that color and let it dry super well before you do the next color. Oh, you're alternating nails? Is this the harder hand, Savannah?
Yeah.
But it's helping you learn how to use both hands.
How do I stop sampling? These are already dry.
They're already dry?
Yeah.
That was so fast.
Uh-huh.
Okay, do you know how you're going to do your flowers?
No.
So it looks like they did dots first. Did you read the directions?
No.
Do you think you should? Before you do anything else?
Yeah.
While you're waiting for it to dry?
I would step when I apply a base coat to the nails and let it dry.
Savannah, was there anything that was hard when you were learning how to trim your nails?
Yeah. The noise of the clicking sound.
You didn't like the noise that
Yeah.
the clippers made? Are you happy with it?
Not too sure.
I'm not sure yet. Do you think you're going to need a third coat?
Probably for the weight.
Okay, keep working at it. You knew how to do all your nails and everything, and then you had all those seizures, and then you had to relearn it. What was the hardest part relearning?
How to use both. How to use my left with my. How to use my left hand for my right hand nails.
Oh, and you had a tremor afterwards, so was it hard with a tremor?
Yes.
Because your hands were shaking, so then that was an added challenge?
Yes, and they still do it sometimes still.
So I hope we've given you some ideas onto why it might be hard for some children or adults to have their nails done, and how you can break it down and make it into smaller steps so that eventually the person in your life can be able to manage their own nail hygiene. The number one thing is to break it down and work through each of the challenges that your particular individual has, and give them a reason to want to do it. Add some fun in there. Just make things enjoyable while you're breaking it down. Looking nice. Just have to clean up around your cuticles
Yeah.
and they'll be gorgeous.
Yeah.
Are you happy with them? Something you just have to keep practicing. And then you get better and better at it. So much for watching. We really appreciate that you take time out of your day to watch our video. Have a great day.